Hi, I'm working here at KAMSC in Kalamazoo, and I'm about to do some acrylic pouring. I've got the basics set up for you to see what you need to do this. You can get these supplies at craft stores or Meyer, and I got the Floetrol at Menards, or you could go to Home Depot or a store like that. What I have, if we zoom in here, is a silicone, a plain straight silicone, and if you don't want the fumes from that, you can use this product called, it's by RX or OGX Coconut Oil, Nourishing Coconut Oil. There we go. Hydrating oil mist. There's enough silicone in that to help accelerate the cell production in the paint. We'll talk about that. You can use any kind of acrylic paint. For beginners, stick with a matte finish rather than a glossy one. Here are 3 types that I'm going to use today. Treatment for your paint. It helps it to flow really well with DecoArts. It's called Floetrol in the United States, Floetrol. It is the least expensive version of this product, of this type of product to use for mixing. And when you mix it with your paint, you're going to mix 2 parts of the Floetrol to 1 part paint. And I'll provide recipes and lists of supplies below with the video you can look at later. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do just a simple puddle pour. I'm going to start with yellow. Blue. Pink. I've got a teal here that is got a little streak of red accidentally in it. Let's go with green next. Oops. See if we can deal with the spot later. And we have a little white. And we're going to go red in the center. Again. We'll do a little orange in the very middle. Another little blob of paint in there that we're going to get a little mixture from. There we go. Blue. All right. Now my gun is almost empty here of fuel, but I will try to hit it with a torch as much as it's going to give me. I need to refill this. Don't get too close to the canvas. And let's go ahead and stretch our colors to see what they can do. We should get a nice marbled effect. It is allowed to slide because I have Floetrol in the paint. Floetrol is a paint conditioner. The paint conditioner allows painters to paint the walls, and it levels out the paint so there aren't raised areas or bubbles. It makes a smooth surface, but it also helps to create a viscosity. The fluids move more smoothly, they flow over each other more rapidly, and the results, you have more time to work with your painting because of the ingredients in it. Getting some nice color interplay up here, and now you can see in the center now that the orange and the blue are starting to make cells. They're opening up as the colors rise up in the center of another color, and first you get a little circle, and they somewhat look like cells under a microscope. Now you can tilt and turn this however you like till you get a composition that's pleasing to you. And there are ways to go back into your painting as well. Make changes there. I'm going to see if I can get a little more heat out of this gun. And I will fill it before my next one. You can see the little cells forming there. And they're forming down there too. Maybe they come on the red area. I have a hairdryer too I can use. And you don't need to, but what I've done is I've added a couple of drops of silicone into my paint. It is a cell accelerator, and it causes even more of these bubbles to appear because I kind of like how they look. You can also use other products that are high in silicone. I will put them in the description so you can read some options. There's a coconut hair product actually you can use that is much more kid-friendly than regular silicone. This is the silicone that I've used in here. It's practically odorless, but some of them do have an odor to them. So you may want to go with coconut oil if you're working with kids. We do all of these projects down at KAMSC. This and many others. This was just a simple puddle pour where I poured layers of color onto the canvas and then moved them around, and you get all sorts of neat designs. Now I'm going to set us up to do a smaller painting, and we will show you another technique. Okay, we're going to do a flip cup on this one. So let's start with a layered cup. We're going to go with green in the bottom, and yellow, little orange. And I'm going to use the metallic copper. Use metallic teal. And I have a little bit of this aqua. I'll put in the center there. Now to do, I better put just a touch more. Let's see, what do we start with? Green. I want to make sure I have enough that's going to cover the canvas. Now what I've done is I've poured these in one at a time, and it's okay if it's not perfectly made like a target in there, but you want to layer the colors. If you do it from up high, they'll fall further down in the cup and they mix while they're in there. My mixture has 1 part paint, 2 parts Floetrol, it's a paint conditioner, and it has water to get to the consistency I like for pouring, and a drop or 2 of silicone. Now, to do a flip cup, you pick up your canvas like this, and I'm going to put my canvas right over the top. It doesn't matter if it's perfectly centered or not, it can be anywhere. And I'm going to flip my cup over and set my canvas back down in there, hopefully without losing everything. Okay. And then I'm going to start releasing it. It's pretty wild. Let's get some color going here. We'll move it around. There we go. Let's watch it slide down this way. It's a messy process to do liquid arts, but it's well worth it. We have a lot of fun here at KAMSC. In our Science for Artists class, in our Puzzles and Patterns class, architecture, and those are just the arts ones. Oh, and we have Color My World for the little kids too. See if I can get enough to go down to the bottom there. I think I can. I might have to help it a little. And you can see some of the colors are starting to get cells. You can see down here in the yellow, the little bubbles that form from the silicone in the paint. It reacts, it has a reaction, chemical reaction, and it ends up looking kind of, a lot of them look like galaxies or outer space, and some of them look like cells under a microscope. There, I think we have coverage at least. Now let's get this down here. We prepared another canvas with all black with a little bit of Floetrol, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, and covered the surface of our canvas and the sides. I didn't show that part in the video, but we're going to do an open cup pour. I've cut the bottom off of a cup and placed it on the surface of my wet paint, and now just for safe measure I'm going to seal that in a little bit by going all the way around. Try to keep the paint I pour inside the cup in there as long as possible. Eventually it's going to push out and want to climb out of there, but let's start with a little green. Now we have our paint tested to the consistency we need for it to be able to perform the way we want it. It needs to be able to flow easily. And when you're pouring in this kind of a cup, it doesn't matter if you have a perfect circle or you make a perfect target in there. They can be a little off if you like. I'm going to put a little white. This white has Floetrol in it also, and silicone. The silicone looks like this. You can get a treadmill lubricant online that's inexpensive and works great, or you can use a product like this that's a coconut oil, but it's high in a silicone content, so it does activate what are going to be cells, and I'll show you what those look like in a moment when they start to appear. As I said before, we're going to keep pouring into this cup. This is a coral metallic. I think it's going to be kind of cool. Now, what I might do right now is I might let some of my paint come up out of this cup and then close it back down, because I want some feathering around the outside. And then while I continue to put paint in, these are going to start going to work. Let's do a little more green. You can see these colors are going to look real nice. Now, what I'm going to try to do without dropping it is to pick up this cup slowly, release the paint, and kind of swirl it off to the edge. So we have some kind of a swoosh or some movement. So right now I'm seeing some of these cells and paint coming out this way, like the spiral wants to move this way, so I'm going to go this way. With that, try and get as much as I can. I'll let some out, let some out, and now I'm going to go up and around, and there's our start. We're going to let it do its thing for a little bit, and the Floetrol in the paint is going to level it out. That's one of the reasons we use Floetrol in with our acrylic paint, is so it will flow. It's so it will eventually level out, and you won't have any bumps or any of these marks where I spread out the paint earlier. Those all disappear because it evens itself out. Painters use this kind of paint on the walls so that they can not have bubbles or any problems on the surfaces. Now, there's plenty of things I can still do with this, but right now I want to stretch my paint a little bit and get this moving a little. So I'm liking the cells that are forming. I want to try to get some of that swirl I tried to get with the cup. Now I can bring it back again, the same direction I just had. If I want to kind of keep some of the shape that I have, I don't have to lose it. But if I'm not careful, at the same time, I can cause it to go right off the canvas. I like the little bit of white in the middle. Let's bring this down a little further. One thing I like to do, if I don't have enough in my open cup in the beginning to get enough color on the canvas, because there's a lot of negative space in this one, what I'll do sometimes is I can pull paint off to the sides using different tools, or I can use my open cup again. Which is what I'm going to do. So I'll take my already used cup, I took some of my excess off, and I'm just going to, let's see, what areas do I like? I'm liking that, I'll stretch that a little more, I'm liking that. There's a lot of expanse right there, so I might go ahead and give us a little paint right here. I'm going to put a little black first, so we have some to pour on. And the coral's kind of taking over, so we'll put some green. And a little white. That ought to do it. Oops. Let's see if I can do a better job. Okay. And there's some cells. Not a lot of cells. That means it's this time. This is my magic mini torch. It's a propane torch. If kids are using this, it's good to have an adult present because a flame does come out of it. Hold it to the side when you turn it on, and then don't get too close to the paint with the flame. And try to let you see. Get some atmospheric effects over here with the green. Did you get? It's okay to stop and start while you are doing a pour and set it down, but you don't want to wait too long because the paint does set up. I'm liking this little swirl right here, and these cells are beautiful. It's okay, but let's see if we can get some more cells with this. Still doing that.
Don't hold it down, just push it in and away.
There we go.
Oh, that's what I was doing. Oh, maybe you do have to hold it down, sorry. I thought I did. There you go.
No, you got a faulty one, but I'll see what I can get out of it. You don't have to use a torch very much. A lot of these will continue to produce cells as it dries. They often will look different when you come back to them. I'm going to leave it. The colors you choose are up to you. It can be messy, so make sure you lay a lot of newspaper or cardboard down so you're protecting the surface that you're working on. A big cardboard box cut open works really well like this. You also want to make sure that your canvas is raised up so the paint can drip off, and as you see I have this one on just 4 plastic cups, so it's raised up off the floor of the box, so paint is dripping down underneath. There is some waste with doing a pour like this. I'm going to go ahead and stretch now. By stretch, I mean I'm going to tilt my canvas and let some of my paint travel and stretch out those designs. You can get paint to move to all edges of the canvas if you're careful, and it takes some skill. I'm by no means an expert. Coming back again. I might let a lot of this blue come right off. Stop a second. It's not wanting to run over itself over here. The blue is kind of stationary. It might be a little thicker, so I gave it some nice wet black paint to travel on. Now there it goes, it's moving now. The part I thought was a mistake is actually turning out beautifully down there. There are things you can do after the fact if you don't like an area of a composition, and I'm going to work on those, show you what I do. But let's see if I can get that bottom tilted. Oh, I don't want to lose that negative space. Bring it back down a little bit. Got a large area of white in the middle I don't like very much. So, I'm getting messy. I think I'm going to try to get rid of some of that. I'm going to try and get it to sell up a little bit. I have not put any silica in this cup yet. I don't know what happened to my sticks for these two, but we're going to make a small puddle right over the top of our work here. And I really don't want to put, I might put a little black. I really don't want any more of the teal or the rust coppery color in there. This is gorgeous over here where we didn't touch it and just let it be. See if we can get some of this down here. Save it. Oh, that's working over here. It's working on this side now. A little better, but we're not there yet. You cut. The part I thought was going to turn out the worst, I like the best. This part right here. You can also use your breath and use a straw to blow paint around where you don't like an area to change it. Try to break that up a little bit. I'll let that sit for a second. And another technique you can try, I don't have to try them all on this one, we're going to do others, but I actually would like to have something that's a little cleaner than our straw, is you can pull some fluid lines right through it and extend them. A lot of paint down here. I almost want to pour some of that off. I'm going to. As the paint gets a little thinner, we're getting more cells. I'm going to see if by lighting our torch, one more thing we can do to the canvas, we can get that area over here to do a little more. You'll have to take that part out. I should have asked you how to do it. What did you do? Oh, you're not filming, are you? Let's take a look at how it is doing right now. We've let it sit for a few minutes. And if you look over here, you can see a lot of cell formation. Cells are these little round pockets with an outline around them. They kind of look like cells under a microscope. And you can see some different effects over here where I used air and it got kind of a feathering, a frothy look with the white. And some nice marbling in through here in the larger areas. You can overwork a canvas, and I have a few failed areas and a few successful areas. The area here I thought was going to be a fail ended up being absolutely beautiful, and I really like it. Whereas over here I have a lot of paint, and I think I could have stretched it some more and had larger cells. But we learn each time we do them. One more way to get additional cells is to use heat. Some people will use a hairdryer to blow paint around, and that's a little more assertive. Make sure a parent is with the child when they're doing that so they don't blow paint all over your house. But this is just a mini propane torch. It handheld. Make sure parents with you when you're using this. And we can just put this on, and we don't want to get too close to the surface, but apply a little heat. And I want to see if I can get some of these areas to activate further. If you get too close, you cook your paint. It will literally boil. And we may have waited a little too long to do this. It's always the next pour. This is what the box looks like after we pick the painting up out of there, and you can see there's a lot of runoff, so you do want to take the time to set up your area so you can prevent spills on your carpet, because acrylic paint is permanent. These are the acrylic pours we did that have been given some resin coating. The resin protects the painting. It also brings out the color and really shows off the depth of what happened with the liquid paint when we did these pours. You can see all of the beautiful cell production from the different materials we added and the ratios we used them in to get different results. This was an incredible liquid experiment that we had a lot of fun with. I don't know, which one's your favorite? Here are a few more of the acrylic pours that were done the other day here down at KAMSC. We study science here and the science behind liquids doing acrylic pours. We learned about liquid viscosity by changing the ratios of the materials we mixed together just slightly and got different results each time. It was really incredible to experience, and we'd love to have you kids come down and do that with us next year. We don't have camp this year, so we've posted information at the end of our video that'll tell you how to make an acrylic pour painting at home, what you'll need, and so on. You could practice up this summer and then come join us and have fun with friends your age next year. This one is my favorite. You can see there is so much going on in it. If you were to zoom in on this canvas in any area, you'd have a mini composition that would look just amazing. Can you see a postcard of that or a postcard of that? It's really, really a cool painting. All of them are. Which is your favorite?